welcome back to another lesson. Today we're going to be discussing Ode to Joy. And first we're going to start off with the melodies, and then we're going to be discussing chords for the accompaniment part for playing Ode to Joy. So first, let's just dial in the notes. Okay, starting on number 17 of Ode to Joy, we have in the first measure E, E, F, G. Let's go ahead and play that together. 1, 2, ready, go. E, E, F, G. Now let's look at the second measure. G, F, E, D. 1, 2, ready, go. G, F, E, D. All right, let's put those two together. 2, ready, go. E, E, F, G, G, F, E, D. And now let's look at the next two measures. We have C, C, D, E, E, D, D. Let's try those two measures. 2, ready, go. C, C, D, E, E, D, D. Let's play all four measures of the first line. 1, 2, ready, go. E, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, C, D, E, E, D, D. All right, now, if we look at the second line, notice it's pretty much the exact same thing, except for the fourth measure of the second line. Instead of going E, D, D, like in the first line, it goes D, C, C in the second line. So let's go ahead and play the second line. 1, 2, ready, go. E, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, C, D, E, D, C, C. All right. So now, let's go ahead and play the first two lines together. 1, 2, ready, go. E, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, C, D, E, E, D, D. Next line. E, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, C, D, E, D, C, C. All right. How'd you do so far? Remember, if you're having trouble, feel free to rewind, repeat, until we can keep going forward. This one, we're going to cover a lot of material for this song. So repeat it as many times as you need. Moving on to the third line. The first measure, we have D, D, E, C. Let's play that together. 2, ready, go. D, D, E, C. And then the next measure goes D, F, E, C. Let's play that measure. 2, ready, go. D, F, E, C. All right, now let's put those two measures together. 1, 2, ready, go. D, D, E, C. D, F, E, C. Very nice. Now, let's look at the next two measures. We have D, F, E, D, C, D, G. Let's play those two measures. 2, ready, go. D, F, E, D, C, D, G. Let's play that entire third line. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, D, E, C. D, F, E, C. D, F, E, D, C, D, G. All right, let's try it one more time. 1, 2, ready, go. D, D, E, C. D, F, E, C. D, F, E, D, C, D, G. And then if we look at the last line, it's exactly the same as the second line. So let's go ahead and play that. 1, 2, ready, go. E, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, C, D, E, D, C, C. All right, so now let's go ahead and play the whole thing, playing just the melody. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. E, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, C, D, E, E, D, D, E, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, C, D, E, D, C, C. Next line. D, D, E, C, D, F, E, C, D, F, E, D, C, D, G, E, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, C, D, E, D, C, C. How'd you do? So remember, key thing of this is that even if you mess up, practice to keep going. Give yourself a chance to be able to keep up with it, try to get back on the train even if you fall off. Remember, it's just like life, we all make mistakes, but it's about how well we recover that kind of sets us apart, right? So it's the same thing. We got to practice how to do that. So even if you mess up, try first to jump back on the train. And if it's like, okay, there's no way I can get back on, go ahead and repeat it and try to do it better next time. So now let's move on to the chords. Okay, so now if we look here at Ode to Joy for the chords, you can see that above each of the measures are these little letters in gray. These are indicating the chords. And to play a chord, it requires 3 notes of a scale, and they're placed together and played at the same time. In this case, let's look at the very first letter. It says C. So what we would do is we would play in a C scale, which would be from just the main letter names: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Goes from, and there's 8 letters. No matter what scale you play, there's going to be 8 of them, and you're going to take the first one, C, and then you'll take the third one, which would be E, skipping over D for the second, and then you go to the 5th one, which is G, C, D, E, F, G. So you place the C, E, and G together, and that makes a major chord. In this case, this is played by playing our first finger on the note C, as you can see in measure 3 of 17, just like our normal note, C. But now what we're going to do is we're going to accompany it with the 3rd string and the 1st string open E. So this will be G, C, and E. And you strum it, and that's our C major chord. Now this is what we call easy C, where you just place that and you only worry about the top 3 strings. Now for those that are more advanced, what we're going to do is I'm going to pull up this shape of C, and what it requires is just like easy C, you have the first finger on the note C, and then you're going to take your second finger, you're going to place it on the 4th string of the 2nd fret, and your 3rd finger will go to the 5th string of the 3rd fret. Now it's going to you may experience a major stretch, or it may be a little bit uncomfortable or a little bit wobbly. This is my advice, and I've told, for a lot of my students that see me in person, I will tell you that this is what we call TV practice, where a lot of the practice that you're going to need is just holding this chord, and it helps even just watching TV and forgetting about it, just letting your hand just sit there, and that counts as practice. What happens is our brain has to process being able to handle that shape. It's like hand yoga. You got to just let it sit there for a while before our hand can just memorize how it's supposed to be. soon that tension that you're feeling in your hand will soon relax, okay? If this is still too uncomfortable for you right now, just play with the easy C. So this may take a couple days if this is your first time trying to play chords, but it'll be well worth your time because you're gonna be encountering this all the time. So if that's not working, just go back to easy C. Otherwise, if you play full C, you're gonna play from the 5th string all the way down, and that's full C. And that is what we would be playing over the first measure of 17. So, bum, 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 bum. That's what would be playing in the melody as this chord is being strummed. Okay? Now, on to the second measure. It talks about G. Now, I'm going to show you the easy G first, which is just like C, we're going to play the note G. And as you can see in measure 2, it shows a G being played on the first beat. So, just like easy C, you're going to just strum the top 3 strings. And that makes a G major sound. So now we have easy G to be played. So now you can go from easy C, 1, 2, 3, to easy G. So go ahead and try that back and forth as you go through. That would cover the whole top line of 17. Bum, 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 bum. Okay? Now for the full chord of G, what we're going to do is you're going to take you're going to keep the same note like easy G, and just like this is open E on the top, this is also low E, the string closest to you, the 6th string. So you have high E and low E. So because of that, we know that the 3rd fret, just like on high E, this is going to be G, that the reflection is also G. So what we're going to do is we're going to reach over, and what I like to do is I like to take my 3rd finger that's here and I lock my knuckle so that it stays real straight and real bent, okay? What this is going to do is it's going to create an arc over the fretboard. So it gives your 2nd finger enough room to reach over, okay? So keep that finger locked for right now, and then you're going to take your 2nd finger and put it all the way across on the 3rd fret, the 6th string. And then you're going to notice you got your pointer finger that's pointing straight up in the air. Well, now we can take that and place it on the 5th string of the 2nd fret. Okay? And then when you strum it, that will be full G. Now, if you're getting some duddy notes, that means that either one or two things are happening. One, you're not pressing hard enough on the strings for it to be played. Or, especially if you're playing on an acoustic guitar, what ends up happening is that our calluses aren't hard enough yet. But the more practice you get, the harder your fingers become. And the harder your fingers become, the better your tone becomes. Remember, like, even though I'm a professional guitar player, if I don't practice for a long time and my calluses go away, I'm going to get the same sound that you are right now. All right, so that being said, little exercise for you in switching between these two. We have C and then G. This is what we're going to be doing for the first line of Ode to Joy. So let's go ahead and try that out. Now, if this is too much for you with the chords, go back to the easy versions. Okay? Let's play the whole first line. 1, 2, ready, go. Bum, 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 bum. Okay? And then as we go to the next line, you'll see that we have C again. Bum, bum, bum. Now the second measure of the second line, we have F. And I'm going to show you the easy way first, and then we'll go on to the next. Now, you're going to take your first finger and you're going to bar these two strings. You're going to take your first finger and you're going to play both the notes C and F, like we learned in our notes. Okay, so you're going to hold down both of those notes, and then what you're going to do is you're going to take your middle finger and you're going to place it on the third string of the second fret. Okay, and that's going to make your F chord. Okay, now if in the chart you can see that we also have a different version where you take those two same thing where you bar the first two strings. You take your second finger, put it on the third fret of the third string of the second fret, and then you're going to take your third finger, put it on the fifth string of the third fret, and your pinky underneath it. Okay, on the fourth string of the third fret. And this is the F that they show in your chord chart. Okay, now that's a pretty full F, but to me that's not an easier version of just playing what we call a bar F. And a bar F, what that means is instead of just putting this first finger here, we just extend all the way up and keep your fingers the exact same way that you had it here for this version that they show you in your chord chart, and just move your first finger all the way across and create what we call a bar. Now this is a similar shape as if you look in your chord sheet as E. E is the exact same thing, but just slid down with and played open. What we're doing is we're taking our first finger and if you take that E shape, and which you're going to have to actually learn anyway on the third space, so it's worth looking at right now. If we look at the chord E, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take our first finger and place it over this white part up here, and we call that the nut. And if we just get our hand like this, it's going to do nut just like when we were playing F behind G, and that does nothing to the sound. It's the same sort of thing. If we place this on top of the nut, it's not going to affect the sound at all. But what it's going to do is it's going to train our hand to be able to play these bar chords. So now we have E, and what we can do is if we train our finger to be like the nut up top, then what we can do is we can slide the whole thing up one fret, and that makes full F. And the reason why I like this is because it allows to have just like in G, we have the reflection of the two G's on top of each other. We have the same thing with high F and low F. So that allows us to play the whole chord, and that's full F. Okay, so that being said, so we have C in the second line, and then we go to F, whether you're going to do full or easy version. I'm going to be playing the full chords for the sake of it. And then we're going to, in the third measure, goes back to C. And then this time, at the end of the second stanza, we're going to have G for 2 beats and C for 2 beats. Okay? So it goes a little bit quicker there. Okay? So let's go ahead and just play the first 2 lines. I'll sing the melody as we play. 2, ready, go. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. All right, on to the third line. So the third line starts and moves a little bit quicker, just like the last measure of the second stanza, where we have 2 per measure. So it'll go bum, 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 G for 2, C for 2. So let's just practice that. Bum, 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 bum. The next line. Bum, 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 bum. Now in the third measure, we go to that E that we talked about before after the G. So bum, 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 bum. So as a reminder for that E, what you're going to do is you're going to play the first finger on the third string, first finger, third string, first fret. You're going to place your second finger on the fifth string, second fret, and your ring finger or third finger on the fourth string, second fret. And you're going to play all the strings. And that's E. Once you learn that E, it's easy to learn the next chord, A minor, which is the exact same shape that you just have here at E, but you move it up one string to play as A minor. Now with A minor, you also strum from the fifth string all the way down. Okay, so you have E to A minor. Okay, and so that makes it a lot more worth your while, I think, versus like learning the easier versions of these, because it's a pretty comfortable shape, and you want to have that sound. And if you want to practice going from E to A minor, you'll get that like nice Spanishy sound. Okay, so that's something you can play around with. All right, so now after the A minor, we end up back at the G. Okay, so let's look at the third line itself. Let's practice it together. 1, 2, starting on G. Bum, bum, C, and G, and C, and G, and E, and A minor, G. Let's try that one more time. And G, and C, and G, and C, and G, and E, and A minor, G. All right, and then finally, the last line is exactly the same as the second line. So let's go ahead and play that together. Bum, 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 bum.